And I was above my body. I was looking down at my body. I was lying in the road on my kind of right front side. Felt like this physical form was shutting down, and the energy and the vitality of my physical body was diminishing. And as that was happening, this part of me that was existing was being energized. So this part of me was being energized, and as I was being energized, I found myself in this pure blackness, and it was expansive. It was a kind of black that is illuminated. It was like there was a luminosity to this blackness, and it was the blackest of blackest that I've ever experienced. Yet there was also this sense of it. There was no fear. There was pure being. It was timeless. It was expansive. It was never ending. It was peaceful. There was no worry. There was no questions. There was no wanting. There was no, it simply was being. And it felt like being in pure presence. And out of that place and this sense of being merged in and kind of, I don't want to say floating, because floating implies that there was a separate me to be floating. I simply was immersed in this expansive, illuminated blackness. And at some point, there was a wondering that emerged, and we would call it a thought. I call it like a packet of energy. Like energy started to emerge into this kind of wondering about this place. And then it shifted, and it felt like I was in a cocoon, floating in a cocoon. And I was aware on the periphery that there were others that were floating as well in my periphery. And when I say others, it's like we were all made up of this same, of this quality that was in this space. Like we were all connected somehow. And in this cocoon, it felt like I was in a waiting place of sorts. And there was no fear, there was no worry, there was no, it was simply being in this cocoon. And then out of that place, a wondering, there was a sense of waiting, and a wondering occurred about, well, if this is a waiting place, what am I waiting for? But it wasn't, it was simply like it was simply a wondering. There wasn't anything attached to it. So as soon as that wondering built, like the energy built, I was in another place completely. And how I describe this is, it's like there's no density and there's no resistance that meets that curiosity or that wondering or that thought form. I'm saying thought form, but really it's energy. There's no resistance. So immediately you're in this other place. And I was in this, and I don't have a sense whether I traveled there or it emerged. It was this luminosity of this effulgence, this light, this brightness that kept growing and growing and growing. And within this light, there was a presence, and it didn't have necessarily form, yet it was clearly a presence that was of the light, that was in the light. And I knew that this presence was other than myself, yet there in communion with myself for me, to help me, to answer questions, to show me, to guide me. And this presence, it was like if you put your forehead, and I've used this analogy, if you put your forehead to someone else's forehead and you instantly know everything about them, everything about their life, all the nuances, all of the whys and the hows and the whats, and how this was for their learning and their growth, and how they got to where they were going to be. I was able to see all that was going on in my life up until that point. I was able to know and see and understand it from a multi-sensory, multi-dimensional way. So it's kind of like being able to see all the different facets of something in quicker than a split second. There's no time as we know it. Time is not linear there. Time, it's timeless. And once this had happened, I understood, and I was able to see everything that had led me up until the point, and everything. There was something about my soul's journey up until that point, and in a bigger sense, and also what was going on in my life at the time. And this went on for however long it went on. Again, time is amorphous there. And at some point, there was an urgency. There was an urgency that was building, an energy that was building to get back. And it kept on building and building and building until it was time. I knew there was a knowing in this place. It was time for me to get back. If I was going back, I needed to go back. And I remember at that moment, before I came back, I heard, when you go back, it's time to live big. I heard that as loud, as clear as I'm saying it right now. It's time to live big. And I asked the presence, who are you? And I heard, I am you.